difference, one cup at a time. Tea time. So be sure to grab your tea, grab a seat, and tune in to Miss Liz. Tea time. Making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time, yeah. Tea time.
Well, welcome, guys. We are here. Yes, we are a few minutes late, but you know what? We have fun in the background. Things happen, life happens, and that's how it rolls on Tea Time with Miss Liz. We just slide the tea nice and smooth, and we continue on and we carry on. And I have the amazing Diann Boehm back, and she has a new update. She has a new book. We're going to talk about Boomer. We're going to talk about travel. We're going to talk about all that good stuff. We're going to just have some good old time, as we've been doing for the last few minutes in the background, just kind of catching up and all of that, because I love catching up with my guests. So let's get started and let's have an afternoon tea time to remember. So share the tea time, go to the YouTube channel, share these tea times out, save them, put them in your playlist. And if any of the tea times resonate with you, please let me know. I always like to hear feedback. And we are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and LinkedIn at this moment. So, and then we'll be uploaded to all of the amazing podcast stations and radio stations and all that good stuff. So you can check out Miss Liz all over. But let's get Diann in here and let's talk some Boomer books. Boomer books. Boomer is the name of the book. Miss Liz. See, I'm having so much fun. I'm just so excited that she's back. So let's get the disclaimer in and let's give a little bit of the bio of Diann, and then we're going to have some good old TEA with her. Disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time live show. Miss Liz myself is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment, please grant StreamYard permission to see your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that the content brought forward for any Tea Time show hosted by myself, Miss Liz, is always brought forward in good faith. However, may bring forward dialogues and opinions that are not representative of my platform. The facts and information are perceived to be accurate at the given time of airing. All Tea Time guests and audience participants are responsible for using their good judgment in taking any action that may relate to the discussion. The content brought forward may include discussion for some where they may be emotionally at risk. It is significant to know that this show is engaging in discussion forums only to offer and inspire awareness and connection and is not providing therapeutical advice. If you have any questions about the disclaimer or the panelist discussion, you may freely contact me, Miss Liz, through my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com. Moving forward, should you choose to voluntarily participate in today's show in any aspect, I myself, Miss Liz, welcomes you. And should you decide that the show is not made for you at this time, I respect your wishes and will see you at a later show at a later date and time. And all tea times this year in 2023 are done on a Thursday at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 7 p.m. If they're not on a Thursday, it's a rescheduled show on a Monday or Tuesday. So now a little bit about Diann Boehm. She is an amazing woman. She is an award-winning international author. Diann writes children's books and young historical fiction adult books. In addition, Diann writes books to inspire kids to be kind, like themselves, and to embrace imagination. You can find all of her books on Amazon, and Diann's Story Garden YouTube channel, which we'll be talking about today, gives children the opportunity to hear different children's authors read their stories, as well as Diann read her own stories. Diann does speaking engagements, book signings, as well as author visitations. Her creative flair encompass the performing arts and the performing musical theater productions in Dubai, produced by Popular Productions out of the UK. In addition, Diann enjoys making guest appearances on various live streaming shows, including this one. Diann is the co-host with Dr. Jacalyn on her USA Global TV and radio. So we're going to talk about all that good stuff, but let's get her in here so I can sip on my tea and let's find out some good updates. So let me pop her in here. Welcome, dear. You know what? I don't even know if I'm saying your name right. Am I saying your name right?
If I was in France, it'd be perfect. But in America, it's Diann. It's very
Diann.
confusing because of the spelling, So
I'm just going over to Europe for a moment.
That's right. Thank you for that beautiful introduction. That was so kind of you. Thank you.
Oh, not a problem. I want to know a little bit about you because maybe somebody's tuning in and hasn't seen season 3 yet, hasn't seen and knows about you. So share a little bit about who you were as a little girl and who you are now and how you got into writing.
Oh, how long do we have?
I don't know. I think we have all afternoon, right, guys?
That's right. Pour me a cup of tea. I love tea, by the way. The introduction of tea is just so fabulous. I was just like, la, 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 la. I grew up in Texas, but I was born in Oklahoma. And as the saying goes, like my family got us to Texas as soon as they could. It's an old saying. And I have 5 brothers. And it was so much fun growing up in a big family. I'm not sure my mom and daddy would say it was always fun, but for us kids, it's like you get mad at one and there's another one to play with, right?
One brother out, more to go.
That's right. And I was in the middle. So my older brothers, they were my protectors, and my baby brothers, they helped me learn to be a good mama because I was like changing diapers and reading to them. And so there's a lot of pluses to have a big family. And then I always loved singing. I've always been a storyteller. The first time I got the stage bug, I was 10 years old, and we had a little talent show at school. And when the people started clapping, it was like 4 of us, and we sang this song called Dominique. I don't know if you know it. Dominique, anyway,
this first time I heard it, but I like it.
It's the singing nun was very popular. She was from France, by the way, so she'd say Diann, and I was like, oh my gosh, they're clapping. I love this sound. And after that, I was like, I'm going to be on stage from now on. So fast forward, I did a lot of that, and raised with my husband and I of 42 years. We raised 3 kiddos that are all grown up and very successful. So yay! And my girls love to sing, and though they sing for fun now, but one writes music and sings and so forth. And so there was a moment I thought I need to step away from singing because they kept looking up to me, and they would say things like, oh, I'll never be as good as you. And I was like, okay, you can't compare yourself to me because the age difference, maturity and blah, blah, blah. But of course, that doesn't sink in. So I quit singing so they could surpass me, and trust me, their voices are glorious. And so that's when I decided that I would write books and do my storytelling that way. And there you go.
So when did you start writing again?
It took a long time to get published. So everybody listening, it just doesn't happen overnight unless you already are somebody. But I started writing probably about 1988, 85, something like that. So, but I kept those stories to myself. They were stories like I would tell in the classroom because I was a classroom teacher. And then I think in the 90s was when I, really got serious about it. and then it took a while. Praise God that indie authors came to be and to be accepted and recognized. And so I was able to move into that platform via indie authors, and now I have 3 publishers. Oh my gosh. And one that's a full-fledged publisher, which is what Boomer's with, is my first publisher that's not as an indie author. So I feel very blessed.
So you have 3 publishers. Wow, you're a busy woman.
Well, I went from like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of getting no's, right? To I'd love to write your story. Oh, I'm so happy, right? And then I was like, I'm getting up there in age, and so I need to get these stories out. So I would speak to, my first publisher, and she goes, I get first take, go for it with someone else. And so I did. And then that book came out, and the publisher's like, oh man, I should have published that one.
What was I doing?
And then the other 2 publishers, which is Texas Sister Press and OC Publishing out of Canada, by the way, they were like, Diann, you're incredible. We understand Norrin's Triad Publications would really like to publish you. So, go for it. There can be 3 of us. There's plenty of room. Go for your stories. They need to be heard. And I thought, these are really great people, because a lot of publishing companies would never do that. Yeah. And so I feel like I really want to give them, their name recognition, because they're just good people. And that's hard to come by.
Yeah, I actually work with Anne. She reached out to me and she's like, oh my God, you had Diann on your podcast. Or I was like, I was going to shoot you her. And I was like, oh, well,
yeah, she has a heart of gold.
But Diann, like, that just goes to show how small the world is, right? Because I didn't know that you were with OC Publishing until after you were on the podcast, like last season, because Anne started shooting me people, so some of the clients, and then she's like, oh, I want to give you Diann. Oh, she's already been on. Oh, okay. So it's like, yeah, small world, right?
Small world.
I mean, that's what it means. Like when you work together, right? When you collaborate with different people, you open different doors, different avenues. And that's what I like doing with Teatime, is I like having different doors, different clients, different customers, different flavors and blends and all of that. Mm-hmm. Right. And I just love having you on, because we connect. We're like soul sisters, like spirit sisters. We just have fun, like, so I want to get into, since you've been on season 3, what have you done? I know you got a new book, but what else have you done?
Well, I've been working really hard with Anne, by the way, because my book that we talked about last time, Rise, A Girl's Struggle for More, did very well. And Anne kept asking, or letting me know that people were asking her, what happened to Ruby? What happened to Ruby? And so she said, Diann, I told you you're going to need to have that second book written. I'm like, oh my gosh. Do you know that you have to like study? And she goes, and that's why I told you need to have it written.
That's why you got to do your homework, girl.
So that book actually is coming out November 1st. And the title is, you're one of the first people to hear it, is Ruby Takes Chicago. And it's based on my grandma, and who actually lived in Chicago and the 1920s. So a lot of fun things happen, and a very naive girl in the 1920s. And I didn't really realize until I started, a lot of stories came from my mom, and grandma shared a lot with me, but mama shared more. And so I'm like, wow, grandma and I had a lot in common, and I didn't realize how much we had in common, because, grandmas aren't going to tell you all their stories from their, quote, younger years. Because did you know in the 1920s, the word teenager didn't exist?
No, I did not.
Yeah, it did not exist. It wasn't until the 1950s that teenager became an everyday word. It took the kiddos from the 1920s, they broke everything open because they were the first ones to start dating. They were the first ones to show more than their ankles when they wore a dress. They had, we have texting. Well, they would use a fan that would have the texting for the boys. And so it was quite fun to read about what
wow.
they got around. And it makes sense, because technology was changing so quickly. Horse and buggy to all of a sudden a car, and the telephone, and an ice box, right? So, yeah, I could go on and
And
on.
I remember when you were on season 3 that you talked a lot about your grandma. You have this special bond with your grandma.
That's right, right. Her name was Ruby Pearl. Beautiful story that I won't bore you with of why she got that name, but her mama was pretty special. And you have to, all of us need to stop and really think about these women who were so incredible in the 1800s and even the 1900s. But they had to cook, they had to sew, they were plucking the chickens, right? I mean, they were doing everything. And so luckily for my grandma Ruby, her parents really believed a strong education. And her grandma, my great grandma, whom I knew because Mama had me at 21, so you get to know everybody. It's quite exciting. And Grandma Terrell was self-taught in medicine, so she was like the primary person if you were going to have a baby and you didn't want to go to the hospital, and not many people went to the hospital in those days. So she was, quote, the midwife. And she was just a real trailblazer, which made my grandmother a trailblazer, my mom a trailblazer, because she was one of the first. She started the first hospice in the VA system in the United States, and so I like to think I'm a trailblazer because I help bring technology into the classroom. So,
well, and you do with your books because
yeah.
you've been in school with your books.
Yes. So I do love coming to the schools, if that's what you mean, and reading to the children and getting them to embrace the imagination, to just put that cell phone down and look at the clouds and just feel the spirit inside them. And, you mentioned earlier how my books are about kindness and love, and also about peace, and
Yep.
and we need to have that in our heart, because if we can feel joy and love and peace and feel good about ourselves, then it's going to be abounding to others, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, and you had a thing on your YouTube channel about a song competition with the word peace.
Oh, yes. It wasn't a competition so much, but really I wish it would have taken off more. But I did get friends of mine from different parts of the world to sing the word peace, because in the story, A Song of Peace, it was all about a little boy named Tommy who really wished for peace on earth. And he started singing the word peace. And in the story, you find out why. And people around the world joined in. And all of a sudden, even the deers were happy and the animals were happy. See, there's my little magic wand,
We just make it magical and fun. Like,
yeah.
I find out there's no more fun, right? We need fun. We need to be digging that imagination, and just pour it out. Like, get silly, make like zigzags and, like a little wiggle wonkle, like, oh.
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. That's absolutely right.
But I really like that on your YouTube, because I think you were just getting people just to sing peace.
Yes, that's right.
Tones and that, and it's
in their language too, right?
So how did that go? Like, did you get a lot of people for that?
Not as many as I would like. If I had it my way, it would still be going. But I was lucky. I got about 20 or 30 people, which I thought was pretty cool. So we had
cool.
Chinese and Tagalog, which is Filipino, and I think we had a little bit of Italian going. So I feel very blessed that there's people out there reading my stories and wanting to jump in and send me a video. And so anybody out there wants to send a video of you singing Peace or your little kid, please feel free to. I would love to have it.
And it would be nice in all the different languages.
Wouldn't it though?
That would be nice.
I truly believe that if all of us, like we said, we have a day of prayer or the national prayer for the world, but why can't we have that all the time? Why can't we take a moment, take a deep breath, JOY, just 3 little letters, joy, and have joy. What gives you joy? And share that. And if everybody in the world could just stop for a moment and think about joy and share joy, then I really think it helps make the whole earth a little bit calmer and nicer.
And lighter, right? Need light. We need lightness. We need to lighten up a little bit, people.
Yeah.
We're so serious. We just need to lighten up, and we need peace. International Peace Day is coming up September 21st. For anybody that wants to know more about Peace Day, check that out.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, well, I will have Jazz for Peace coming on September 21st. It was just released yesterday, my September guest. So we're going to be doing some jazzing and some peace and some music. We're going to be bringing it to the table in September. So
sure to tune in.
You got to tune in, Diann, and you got to, do peace, like sing peace. Sing us a beautiful peace song. But I want to get into, how many books do you have? And then we're going to get into the new one.
I should sit there and count sometimes, but I believe I have a total of 11 now. So,
wow. Yay! 11 books. And she's already going to work on the 12, because when we were talking in the back, we got another book coming.
And the name.
And the name, because Miss Liz gave her the name.
That's right. Inspiration.
Because I'm going to be, your new book's title is Boomer, but I'm going to be Chomper.
That's right.
We should be the friendly bunnies here.
I love it. Going down the path, because all of Boomer's books is going down the path and discovering what they can see.
Right? So let's talk about Boomer. And I know you have the book there, so if you could show it.
Let's see if I can get a good, clear picture of it. It's Boomer, the Curious Bunny. And my friend Judy Gaudette, the illustrator out of Maine in the United States, did just a beautiful, beautiful job. I'll show you a few pictures. They're all just so pretty. Look, Boomer's going to get hit by a tennis ball.
Oh, we were talking about taking the brothers out.
So what happens is, it's going back to embracing the imagination in my books. And I wanted Boomer, and I'll share how I came up with that name in a bit. But I wanted Boomer to be a representative of loving curiosity. And again, putting that cell phone down and just getting the coloring or the paint or whatever, right? Or wiggling, like you said. And so Boomer, rabbits have big families. And Boomer's like happy and everything, but he sees somebody running down the path and he's like, in the background, just so you know, like, oh my gosh, everyone's always running down the path. What's going on, right? And so he decided one day,
don't leave me behind.
Yeah, that he's going to go down the path. And he makes all these incredible discoveries, right? And I wanted to write it in such a way that the kids would like it, like, Boomer went on to see what he could see, and so like when I'm in the classroom and I'm reading it with the kiddos, which I love, I'll go, and then Boomer decided to, and then the kids would finish it to see what he could see, because, sing-song is important to me. And Boomer, I wanted the kids to laugh, and so I asked the illustrator, I want you to illustrate in such a way that you're the bunny, and you're seeing it through Boomer's eyes, So Boomer goes, oh my gosh, those are funny paws, but it's, people and the kids will go, oh my gosh, those are shoes. I go, but it's the Boomer just thinks they're paws, right? And another page that I really love is Boomer's like, oh my gosh, there's rain coming from the ground. And of course, it's a sprinkler. So he's making all these discoveries, right? And so the kids just really love it. And I go, you see, if we try, when I'm working with older kiddos, I'm like, so see, try to be that rabbit or that person in how they would see it at that eye level. And you'll come up with a really fun story.
I just love the way that you get right into it, right? Like you like, let's all pretend to be bunnies, and I think Chomper needs to come in. Like Boomer was going down the path, and all of a sudden found Chomper, who was sitting on the path all by himself, and then they made a beautiful friendship.
After this, I'm gonna have to go write that story.
Yeah, I know.
I'm working on one now for Boomer that my publisher doesn't know about, but now she's going to get two at the same time.
Well, you got 3 publishers, so you're good.
I'm good, right? But I think Boomer would be just so adorable, and I wish I really knew how to animate, because I think Boomer would be fun for the little kids. I see all these shows they have, which are wonderful, because we all need superheroes. When I was a kid, it was Mighty Mouse, right? But, oops, I just dated myself. But anyway, but I think Boomer would be just really fun for the kids to really make discoveries and learn and go, I want to go see that mummy at the park, and stuff like that. So...
Well, Diann, you just mentioned Mighty Mouse. So did some of the shows that you watched as a child help you write these books?
That's a really good question. I would think if there was one, it would be Casper the Friendly Ghost. I loved Casper.
I think he's a cute ghost. I would date the guy.
Isn't he adorable? Casper the Friendly Ghost. And of course, my brother Mikey would be like, I don't want to watch that show. I want something fun, like Tom and Jerry. Those are great classic cartoons, right? And I'm so grateful to whoever came up with YouTube, because I can introduce those shows to my younger family members, and so it's really fun, because most of them are like always watching animation, and I introduced them to Lassie from the 1950s, and they're like, that's a real person. I didn't know there were real people on TV. They were so
well, back in the day, we did have real people.
Yeah, exactly. And just loved, so they'll go, go, Lassie, go, 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 go. And I'm like, yes, go, Lassie, go. Animation can wait.
Right? The old shows brought a lot of messages, a lot of family unity, right?
Yes, they
did. I find today's, and I'm not knocking anybody down, so don't come attack Miss Liz. Yeah. I'm just saying that the family unity is being destroyed. It's being broken. It's being divided, right? And we talked about this in the back. We're all over the place. We're so much division, right?
Right.
We're 50, even 25 years ago, there was those, Little House on the Prairie, where it had the family. All Dogs Go to Heaven is one of my children's favorites movies. Yeah. And it was about unity of all the doggies coming together and finding, and the peace. We don't have that anymore. Now we have destruction. We have, I'm going to break you. I'm going to, So, just go back and watch some Mighty Mouse, watch some Casper, like enjoy yourselves and bring those into your grandchildren's lives, because I find that the imagination world is being destroyed and we're not having that anymore, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. And not to harper on some of the classics, because I do love them so much, but we can learn from them too. So, for example, when technology came to be such that I could grab a little bit of Leave It to Beaver, learning a lesson.
That was a good one too.
Yeah, and work it into the classroom for a lesson I was teaching. It works. Some of the shows Father Knows Best had some really great things, and people put down Father Knows Best because it's Father Knows Best. But if you really watch the show, it's really Mama Knows Best and made Father think he knew best.
And that's how it works in the house, guys.
Even to this day, right? There's that old saying, if Mama's not happy, nobody's happy.
That's right. We got to keep the mama happy.
Yeah.
It's like there was a dinosaur show that was when Fraggle Rock was coming out and the Smurfs. I'm trying to think of it. There was a dinosaur and he always hit the daddy on the head and said, "Not the mama, not the mama." I forget the name of the movie, but it was maybe about 20 years ago. Well, my kids are in their 30s now, so yeah, I kind of just gave my age away, right?
Yeah, you're a baby. You're a baby. I've decided 100 is really young because the medical people have said if we eat healthy, we could live to be 125. And I was like, I better send them a notice. I've decided 300 because I want to be a great grandmother and kids are taking too long.
Right? I just want to live forever, but I want to bring back the family unity, the children's stories. And that's why I have so many children's stories on Tea Time, is because I want children to read. I want the imagination to open, because when you open up a book, you have to imagine yourself in that book, in that story when you're reading. When you're watching a TV show or you're watching Life or Family, you're not opening the mind of your thoughts. And that, and this morning we had on Jill Vanderwood, and she has books that are you choose your outcome. So it's different stories and you get to choose if you go left or right. And then if you choose this way, well, then you go to this page and then you go to that page. And I thought it was really innovative way of learning, right?
Yeah, it's great. And, in some schools, you won't be able to have those books because you're teaching them right and wrong and so forth. But the way that she's doing it, I really commend her, because you're not actually saying you're right or wrong. You're just saying choices make a difference. And that's really powerful. Very powerful. Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to get into the Story Garden, because we talked a little bit about the YouTube channel, and that's where the Story Garden is on the YouTube. So if anybody would like to check it out, check it out. I do think I have it here. Let me see if I have it. I'm going to put it up. All those numbers, that's what comes up for your YouTube.
You just go to YouTube, DiannFloydBain.com, and they'll be there.
But you guys you can type all this in if you're watching the video. If you're not watching the video, that will be in the description box for the audio, so you'll be able to check out all of Diann's social media links and that. But I want to get into the Story Garden. So how does it run? How does it work? Can people join you for storytelling?
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. And let me just say that I had stopped doing the Story Garden for a little while. It's just now coming back because I'm a person that believes family first. And even though I lost my mom a while back, it's still been pretty devastating for me. So I just kind of stopped. But now we're back home, and I have this because when we back up, we rented this house and got a house close to her so I could be with her all the time. But now we're back home, and this is my Story Garden. There's my sunflower, because I think the books behind me date back from some of them from when my mom was a little girl. Pollyanna was one of her favorites. Some of the books are my books when I was young, and then my children's books, and then books from when I read in the classroom, was a teacher. And then I have books like Pete the Cat, which, things that are really great today, besides my own, of course. But, the Story Garden, the purpose of it is kind of like you, Liz, and that's why I love you so much, is to give authors an opportunity to be heard, to get their book heard. And indie authors, we have a hard time getting our name out there. And so I feel like if I can help in any way, I want to, and give them a chance to either, if they want to read their story or just highlight their story and tell their own personal journey, whatever it is that makes them happy, I want to do that. I focus on children's stories that promote happiness and love again. not destruction. We can save those for another day. And then I've had some parents ask me if I would consider doing middle school. And so I'm looking at different stories and authors for that, where they can just read, a chapter to kind of kick it off. Again, because there's so many great stories out there. And I am such a believer that if you've been blessed, you need to turn around and pass that blessing on, right? And so it took me a long time to get here. I am so grateful, and I'm so grateful to people like you. And so I kind of want to be able to do the same thing. So all they have to do is just email me and tell me who they are, what their book is. We'll have a little chit chat, and it won't be live. It'll be recorded because a lot of authors are very nervous in front of the camera, and I want to be able to have them relax, and then we go from there and promote them. So the Story Garden.
I love it. I love the story garden because you just never know what can happen in the garden, right? What seeds you're going to plant and what's going to grow in the garden. I just love the title of it because you're planting different seeds, different stories, and different messages out there. I think it's really incredible. Like
Thank you.
like Diann, like I think that is like, go and check out our YouTube channel, guys. Like, just check it out. And if you have a story, reach out to her.
Yes, too. And if you have a story inside and you don't know how to get it going, please reach out to me. Because again, that's another thing, Elizabeth, I believe in is that we're all storytellers. Sometimes we really want to get our story out and we don't know how to get started, or maybe you don't have enough belief in your system. But hey, you know what? I'm going to get you believing. Let's get your story heard.
She gets you creating characters like I did in the background. I don't know where Chomper came in, but Chomper we were talking about Boomer, and all of a sudden Chomper came in. So I think it's destiny that is just telling us, that there needs to be a part 2 to Boomer.
I think you're right. I think the angels told you to say that.
Yeah, I think so. So, Diann, I want to get into your tea. You did this the last time. You gave me your tea. And I forget what your tea was because it's in my drawer here. I have a whole drawer full of teas. And it's not tea like tea that we drink. It's teas that all of my guests have given me. There's over 250 different teas in this drawer over here. We will be serving those teas in a different way in the future. But I want to get your words today. So if I give you the letter TEA, what 3 words are you going to give me that start with those letters?
Gee whiz, I should have been ready for this, right?
Oh, yeah, I know, right? Just grab your tea and it'll flow.
I think T for me personally is teaching and taught. It's all about learning. It's about being open-minded. And my T is teaching to share love, teaching to be kind, teaching to love yourself. Because if you can't love yourself, it's hard to love someone else. And E, how about eating?
I love it.
I said education last time, but let's have a little bit of fun. I don't know what has happened to me in the past 2 days. I'm supposed to be getting my cholesterol down, but the sugar bug has hit me. And it's like my husband had in the freezer these double chocolate filled, fudgy covered, yummy ice cream sticks.
They sound delicious.
Oh my gosh, double thick. And I was like, okay, I'm not supposed to have that. Okay, I'm not supposed to have it. Okay, I'm going to have it. No one's around. No one can see me. So I'm just like, watching a good movie, a good chick flick, and I'm just melting that. Oh my God, this is so good. It's been so long since I had chocolate. And then it was like gone. And then my brain was like, they make these things so small now compared to when I was a kid that I really
know, right?
Yeah, that I should be able to have a second one because that would equal the first size from when I was a kid. So what did I do? I had 2 of them. So I would say eating.
And what's your A?
Angels. I love angels. I am a true believer that we all have angels watching over us. And sometimes we hear them, sometimes we don't. But I truly believe, like sometimes, oh, I should have listened to you, Angel. I would have found that sooner, right? Or I knew I was supposed to turn that way. And the angel kept saying, don't make that turn. There you are, stuck in traffic, right? But I truly also believe that angels, they need us. They have their own work that they need to do to help with the world and try to help us stay calm and peaceful. And it takes people like you, and others that have this belief in bringing joy and love and life, that we as humans can do things that they're not capable of doing. They need us to be an instrument. So I would say angels.
I love it. I love, and it's so flavorful and it's so magical. It's full of imagination, right? Teaching, eating angels. Like, I just have this vision of this angel eating this ice cream
Oh, yeah.
and teaching and saying, mm-mm-mm.
And don't they wish they could have that chocolate?
I'm like the same way. I can't have certain foods now because I'm diabetic, so I can't have this. So I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
and when you go out with the family, the dessert menu comes and it's like, maybe if I just have a little bit,
Yeah.
So I do have my cheat days, guys. I've cheated once this week, so that's my cheat date. I'm back to my salads and back to all of the other good stuff. But yeah,
So
I
there
think
you go. And today, I don't know if you knew, I read that it was National Peach Day. So of course I had to post a peach cobbler, no, a peach pie recipe with vanilla ice cream, right?
oh my goodness.
But as my mom said, like you said, diabetes runs in our family, so I have to be careful. But mom says, you've had it before. Remember what it tastes like. It'll be gone in a minute, and you're not going to want it on your hips.
Well, that's a good way to go at it.
Yeah, it hasn't worked very well.
I just think of lemons, right? My mouth goes all sour, and I'm just like, okay. If I eat that, it's going to be a sour lemon. It's not going to be good for my body. Okay,
Oh,
forget it.
yeah, exactly.
Right?
Right.
I just love the way that tea is just served. Right? It's just full of
Thank you.
flavor, and this is what it is, right? Our teas don't have to make sense to people. They don't have to make sense to the listeners or the viewers, because your tea is going to be different than what Diann's is. My
Mhm.
tea is going to be different than Diann's. I have different teas every day. My main tea is teaching educational awareness, but I have my transparency attitude example. Like and sometimes the E goes before the A or the A goes, we're just all loopy all over and we just make a mess with good old tea. Um, you know,
That's what I
like,
love about your show. I really, really do love it. And when I was watching your intro, reminded me. I watch a lot of British shows, and it seems like in everyone it's like, something major's happened. There's been a murder, and then they're like investigating. They go, well, now that you've explained that, let's go have some tea. And I'm like, they just talked about killing somebody and they went to have tea, but tea solves everything.
right? Tea is joy. You sit down and you can have a piece of peach pie with tea.
And tea's so delicious. I love tea. And there's so
Right?
many kinds. My favorite is rose tea.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Let's get
really,
into that. Why rose tea?
there's something about the aroma and just the whole flavor. It just ignites my body. It just really does. It just like ignites it completely, and I'm like so happy. And the funny thing is, I do gardening and everything, and my husband's planted roses, but I want nothing to do with actually working with the rose because I don't like the thorns. But I do love the aroma of
Right?
rose.
Just
Mhm.
like mine. My favorite is jasmine. It's the
Oh, just
aroma. I
yeah.
love it, and it reminds me of my Oma, the lady back there who got me into my tea. It's just that smell reminds me of her perfume.
Yeah.
It just brings me right back to me sitting with her and knowing, like, and she lived to the age of 97, I believe. So, you know, And my best friend is
You're
my grandma on my dad's side. So, I got that
Mhm.
bond with the older folks, right? I like, I'm the old soul of the family. I just like
I
sitting
was
with
getting ready to
somebody.
say you're an old soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we resonate so well together, Diann, is because we both are connected to our grandmothers.
Hmm. Grandmas are so wonderful. Sometimes I don't think women get enough spoken about them because there's been so many great women leaders, so many great women who've, raised incredible children. Like I was speaking to my great grandmother, and now your great grandmother, and it's our job to pass wisdom down, right? And obviously, your grandmother's done a great job.
Yeah, she's in here all the time having tea. And that's when she taps me on the shoulder and says, "Okay, I want their tea." I swear she sits in here and she's like, "Give me the tea. I want the tea," right?
Isn't that lovely?
And you mentioned bringing down the wisdom of our grandmothers, keeping that story alive of our grandmas and our great grandmothers. I hope that my granddaughter will do the same when I'm older, and say, my grandma used to serve tea, like my granddaughter has all the different tea sets. Like that's what she gets for birthdays and Christmas. And her dad's like, no more. And I'm just like, uh-uh. But
Isn't it?
I want to get into Diann before, because the time is just flying with me and you. Is you've also done a TV show, uh your co-host with Jacalyn here on US Global TV. Could you share a little bit about that?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So it's USA Global TV and radio. She's added radio now, and I that's just another blessing that's happened. It was just serendipity that we met. Long story short, I co-host two author shows. One, the Corner Bookstore, and then this other one that's books, blogs, and poetry. And again, for anyone listening or watching, it allows people to have these opportunities to come in and share what they do, and for all the reasons you and I've shared before, how important it is. And then my other absolutely favorite show is UK News and Culture, because it's a panel, and we have three. I'm with three other people, one including Dr. Jacalyn, but Simon MacDonald from Scotland, who is very, very involved in the fishery industry. He's cooked for several presidents in our country, in the US, and he's cooked many, many times for Queen Elizabeth, the late Queen Elizabeth. And he's worked with Parliament. And his son designed the sword that was just given to King Charles in Scotland, which was pretty cool.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. And then we have Helen Ashard and Ian Pellin Turner, who have, in their own right, their own news shows. Helena and Ian are professional royal photographers and have been for eons. And so for them to be on the show and share updates of what's going on in all of them, in the culture, in the news, and with the royals, it's just breaking news. So how cool is that?
That is super cool.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, girl. Now I want to get into the fun with words. I found that on your website. What is that about?
So again, that's another one I need to get back to. Fun with words is I want people to realize vocabulary is important, and and to understand words, and I wish somebody would have done this for me, because it's like words are like a puzzle when we write a story, and how we can interchange. So you might say tiny, and then all of a sudden go, wait, it's small. Or you might say huge, but then you go, actually it's gigantic, right? And so you want to have fun with words, and so you want to build your vocabulary, and that's what I want to do. And then the other thing is I want people from different countries to understand, because it is so confusing sometimes, the English language. And so that blue, BLUE, is not BLEW. And so I would put words in there, or sentences, where you would fill in, this is the teacher and me coming out, right? and using the proper word, because I know firsthand in living in other countries that people are studying English, they really want to do well. And they're like, oh, no one taught me that blue and blue. I'm like, oh, yeah, hello. But no one taught me about yours either. So we can have fun with each other. So it's, it's fun with words.
I think it's really cool that you brought up the word blue because my French kicks in and I say blue and blur.
Oh,
So, and with my dyslexia, sometimes I will write the French word when I want to write the English word.
mm.
And then I'll catch myself and I'm like, oh, no, wrong language. Because they do that. They switch the letters. And I'm just like, no, that's French. That's English. You know? Uh, so is that something that you're doing or you put on hold or you
I
doing
put it
more
on
of?
hold, but I do need to bring it back. When I was doing a lot of different things out with my newsletters. So everybody, I have a newsletter, so sign up for it. And I was trying to get a feel for what different people liked, and so I was doing fun with words. I was doing things where you could click on some YouTubes and find different people in the past that are great dancers, wonderful singers, people speeches, so that you were introduced to a lot of different variety of people, again embracing imagination and people from all walks of life, um, so that you had this variety. And it kind of caught on, but for the most part, um, people, I think at that time, were just getting bombarded with tons of newsletters, and all of a sudden people were like dropping out. So I kind of quit those two. But the last two newsletters, I did bring back some YouTube fun, because there's just too many great people that we don't hear about that are incredible dancers. Tap dancing, that's an incredible, difficult thing. And the Irish dancing, so I want people to be exposed, not just to their culture, but to other cultures too.
I like that because we don't hear about that, right? We don't hear about tap dancing and Irish dancing, and it's gorgeous. It's fun. The music is playful. You can have some, you really get into it, the feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's something that we don't really talk about is all the different kind of dances out there. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
get the education out there on dancing. So, Diann, I asked you one word to describe yourself. And the last time you gave me, I believe,
I have to remember.
what did you give me the last time?
I don't know.
I can't remember for the life of me today. It's just like whoop over my head. But this time you gave me the word gardening to
Mm.
describe yourself. So why that word gardening?
Um, well, I never thought I would enjoy gardening as much as I do now, but I give thanks to my mama. She would have me come with her to the nursery and then help her a little bit. And I would sit there and think, I'm never going to do this. And then my mother would say, oh, honey, there will come a time in your life you will find peace away from the children that you will have one day, and you will love gardening. And she was right.
50 years later, oh my goodness, Mom, you were right.
You were right. And I told her, and it was in gardening that that the angels, again, A and T, said, you need to put your stories to print. And so gardening, I find inspiring. I've always loved to play in the mud. I made mud pies when I was little. And so I'm a kid again. So the dirtier I can get, the more happier I am. And even though it was improper English at the moment, more happier, but the happier I am. And there's something about watching the flowers grow, there's something about bulbs when you put them in, they like to be in the soil when it's cold and everything's all frosty freezy, and then spring comes and then all of a sudden you see a teeny tiny little glimpse, and you're just like, wow. And that's actually what inspired me with Charlie and the tires swing, and the oak tree growing, is the beauty that is so magnificent and the miracle that goes on in a garden.
Well, and it's part of the story garden too.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of seeds planted, and and I love putting a bulb in the ground and watching that little inch of green just come out, right? And you're like, oh my
Mhm.
goodness, my baby is growing.
I know, it's so exciting. And for all those who are thinking like, well, maybe I'll give it a try, bulbs are kind of fun. And so, like, I guess in the next day or so, my bulb plants I'm going to clip completely, but I'm going to dig them up. So, in case you don't know, the bulbs will create a new bulb. And so, I'll break them up and then I'll spread them further out. So, a lot of people don't know that, but they do.
Yeah, I just learned something new because I didn't know that they did that.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. So, I started a second garden of bulb plants because I was like, okay, this is all not going to fit in this one area. But it's kind of cool, right? Again, it's
Yeah.
magic.
So I want to end our tea time with your favorite color. You gave me blue.
It's still blue.
And I'm wearing blue
You
for
are.
you.
Oh, that's so sweet. Blue is such a beautiful, calming color. Um, I just, I love blue. No two ways about it. Blue, blue, blue. And the
So this
song's blue, right? Blue on blue. Sorry, I like to sing.
Oh, I never heard that one either. You can go ahead and sing, woman.
I don't know the whole thing. I'll look it up and send you the YouTube thing, but it's a great song.
So any final messages that you have for everybody that's listening?
Sure. To find joy in your life and help spread peace and happiness, that would be incredible. And always be sure to tune in to Tea Time.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And if anybody would like to reach you, Diann, how can they reach you?
Sure, my website's the easiest. Our Instagram, DiannFloydBaim.com, and it's spelled nothing like it sounds.
Right?
Yes. DiannFloydBoehm.com. So my maiden name's in the middle, DiannFloydBaim.com.
That's what I forgot to put on your promotion stuff is Floyd. I didn't
Yeah,
put the Floyd this time.
that's okay.
See? I
I
was just like,
promised
oh.
my daddy I would have my maiden name in there. So I did.
Well, it's been a real pleasure just sitting and talking and catching up and all of that. So if anybody wants Boomer, not Chomper, Boomer, working to get Boomer.
Sure. At any of your local bookstores, you can order it. You can also find it on Amazon and on Barnes and Noble. And let me just say real quickly, even if you don't buy the book, but someone's read the story to you, the best thing you could always do for any author is to write a review. So if you have any books there that you just love from any author and you haven't written a review, if you want to do spread a little kindness, write a review.
I that's how we grow. Like if without a review, authors don't move.
Yes.
We need the reviews. And it's always nice to get the feedback because then when you write the next book, you know what to give and more of and less of, right?
Right. And you taught me I need a chopper.
Right? Yeah, Chomper needs to come along. Like Boomer needs a friend. I don't know where Chomper came from, but I'm just thinking of this cute little bunny named Chomper. Maybe it's Bambi and Thumper,
Yeah,
but
there you
they had
go.
a friend, so
Maybe the two will go find some cute little girl pennies.
right? You just never know. Like, and it's truly been a pleasure sitting and talking with you. Like, we got to catch up a little bit before we went live, and now we're live and we're catching up. And Diann, it's always a pleasure to sit and get to know more and just have that friendly conversation, that open discussion of having a deep magical imagination, just open up the minds, plant some seeds, go gardening. You just never know what you'll do. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Tea Time this afternoon. Tonight's Tea Time has been canceled. It will not be rescheduled. So I will see you again next week at same time, 10 o'clock 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with 3 new guests. And we will be wrapping up August and then jumping into September. If you'd like to see who is coming in September, check out Miss Liz's website at www.misslizsteatime.com. All of them have been listed there. We have some incredible stories that are coming there. So just keep sharing these tea times. If you like something, share it. If there's something that you want to see more of, let me know and I will do my best. Until then, I will see everybody next week, same time, same place, and we'll do it all over again.